In real estate, the old expression is the key to successful investing is location, location, location. How many of you have heard that before? Okay, well, I will tell you that in the world of private equity consulting, which is what I think for most people the whole exit strategy world is about, it's a little bit more complex. So whether we're talking about growing a business or converting from a owner-dependent business into an absentee ownership, transformative type of business, a recapitalization, an asset sale, a stock sale, or an intellectual property sale, the keys to success are context, context, context. I apologize for that typo. It's funny because I did a speech not too long ago where I talked about content, content, content. I think that's how that got in there. What is the content? Well, if the content is typically left brain oriented, how are you going to do something different and something special? And that is about expanding the context of what the experience is going to be. So think about context as what it is we're doing and why are we doing it. And when we start looking at that from a whole brain perspective, we quickly transcend the math. I've been involved in a number of scenarios where I've been called by investment bankers or lawyers or accountants because a deal has fallen apart. They've taken it as far as they could go, and there's no, they say there's no conclusion to the deal, and yes there is. The deal died. That is the conclusion. The deal is dead, and the buyer isn't going to buy, and the seller isn't going to sell. Most of the time the problem was the seller just simply wouldn't sign the documents and wouldn't close the deal. And they almost always used left brain excuses. Well, the terms of the deal weren't right, the dollars weren't enough, the clawback provisions were too onerous, you know, whatever the left brain excuses were. When I go into the case, I go in with an open mind and not really accepting at full value what I'm told about the case going in. Have you ever been introduced to somebody and before you meet them, the person doing the introduction starts telling you all about them and their background? And if you believe everything they say, it can diminish your opportunity to get to know that person because everything's being filtered through the person that's making the introduction. So I'm not going to completely discount that information, but I want to be very careful and make certain that I have correct information. And the only way that I can do that I know of is to make my own determination for meeting the people and talking to them. What I find most of the time is the real reason why the deal fell apart was the why, the reason why I want to close the deal isn't strong enough. It doesn't transcend the reasons why I want to hold on to the asset and stay where I am the way that I am. And you'll see that as a central theme as we kind of go through this whole conversation today about whole brain experience. The next point is clarity, and I think that this is an issue that a lot of people struggle with. How to just be clear about what you want. Wouldn't it be great if you left here today and you had a few questions that you could ask that you could really drive down to clarity? How many of you would like to walk out of this room with that ability? Anybody? Okay. So that'll be one of the goals for today. The next thing is, how committed are you to what you said you were clear about? I am somewhat of a nerd, maybe a complete nerd according to some people, and I like to measure stuff mathematically. So I like to use continuums, and when I use a continuum, I start with 0 in the middle, and if you go off over here to what would be your left, I have -5, -4, -3, -2, -1, 0. And then over here, going to your right, +1, +2, +3, +4, +5. So I would like people to tell me their level of commitment to whatever it is that they said that they wanted. And people say, well, how can you measure commitment with an integer or a negative number? And I like to point to kids. How many of you are parents and have children, raise children? Have you ever had an absolute clear commitment from a child? For example, if you want to go to Billy's birthday party at noon today, don't forget you have to clean up your room. I've been telling you for 4 days, you can't go to the party until you clean the room. It's now Saturday, your room still isn't clean. You've got 4 hours to get in there and clean up your room. If you focus and concentrate, you'll have it cleaned in about 20 minutes. How many of you have had this conversation with the child somewhere along the way, right? Inevitably, the child commits that they are going to do this because they want to go to Billy's birthday party. Then they go up to their room and they start cleaning. And after about 15 minutes, you can't help yourself, right? As a parent, you just got to go check on them. You walk by and you look. And is the room clean? No. It just looks even messier than before, because when they started to put something away in the closet, they saw something that was in a box that they hadn't played with for quite some time. So now they're sitting someplace playing with this toy as opposed to cleaning up the room. See, this is what I know about most children and most human beings. Most of us are more committed to playing and pleasure and comfort than we are to cleaning and working and doing things that aren't very exciting to us, even though Billy's birthday party is the carrot.